like to watch live. Yeah.
Speaking
I
of
didn't watch it
live,
live.
hey, man.
Hey,
buddy.
up, folks. Hey now.
Hey now. Larry Sanders Show.
Tune.
Hey now. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to this frozen wasteland we call Monday, March the 28th. Feeling more like January 28th. I am your Caucasian
It was more
brother.
like the apocalypse, the winter apocalypse.
What happened in the last 24 hours that hell has frozen over? I'm trying to figure this out, John. Has anything happened that would have caused hell to freeze over?
Some crazy shit did go down. So maybe it is. Maybe this is the beginning of the apocalypse. But yeah, I don't know.
Signs of the apocalypse.
It's not so.
Hey,
all right, so
everybody. I am. Well, first of all, welcome to the Heroes World Sidekick Show. I am the Caucasian half of this duo, MC Robbie G. And that's my brother from another mother right here, Mr. John Ho. How's it going, John?
I'm good. We've got some crazy stuff to cover today. So if you're not joining us on the live show, next time
why not?
Monday at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So tune in. The chat is hot. We got all our chat fam in there. So what's up, everybody? Hopefully, y'all have some fun tonight. Thanks for always choosing us for your Monday night entertainment. And I'm pretty excited for this, Rob. I think this is a really cool topic for you to come up with. I was pressed for time at a big toy show yesterday, and I was wiped after that. So no way I could have fit in another movie without only seeing like the first 15 minutes of it, and then conking out. So we figured we'd dig into our memory banks and pull up for me, I pulled up my actual legit most rewatched movie.
Yes.
So I had to search my memory banks and figure out what exactly, it's technology is great. If I had everything on iTunes, I'd be able to go and look at the spins of all your favorite movies and songs and stuff like that. But I had to search through my memory and go, what did I know? What do I know by heart? So there's only a handful of movies that I know every single line from. I don't know what criteria Rob used. I know he wanted to avoid things that he's already talked about on the show. So he came up with something a little more fun. So we're going to get to that soon. So folks, if you have your list of your top five favorite or just your most rewatched movies, however you want to format this list, make sure you write them down. Don't start shutting them out yet. We're going to get to it a little bit later. But if you haven't put them in order, try to put them in order. I think that'll be kind of fun exercise for you. So Rob, what are we going to do to open up the show?
Fart jokes. No.
Oh,
okay.
God. What is this, Bluey?
Yeah. Remember you used to do that? Did you ever used to make those fart noises with your armpit in your arm? You're like,
I could never do it.
Really? You have to lick your palm of your hand, like that.
God, no. Why would you do that?
Well, no, but you lick the palm of your hand before you put it in your armpit. If you do the armpit first, then lick. That's a no-no. You don't do that. That's. What about? Do you remember the flat pieces of grass you could put in between your thumbs? And you'd blow, and it would create like a fart noise. Did you ever do that?
No, I could never do that either. What the?
Did you not have anybody that teach you these things?
No one that could teach me the mechanics that I could, I guess, comprehend or physically put together. Even whistling, right. I don't think I can whistle to this day. But let's move on because I think we want to dive into these movies. Rob, I'm going to tell you a little bit about some new stuff we got coming in the store.
Okay, yeah.
And I think you've got some news that may or may not be Oscar related. Let's get to rolling. So folks, if you are tuning in for the first time, we are kind of repping Heroes World, which is my shop located in Markham, Ontario. And I like to tell you a little bit about some of the new stuff coming in. So this week we have a couple new things coming in. The new comic books are posted on our Facebook and Instagram every Monday as soon as I can get it done. So if you're looking for the new comics that arrive on Wednesday, check us out on social media. I will bring attention to a certain book, which is the Batman Beyond the White Knight. So this is the introduction of Batman Beyond to the White Knight universe, which is Sean Murphy's kind of created universe for Batman, a very different kind of take on Batman. And he does both the art and the writing. So it's a very cool book, very cool universe, amazing style. Rob, have you ever read White Knight or White Knight?
Yeah, so I've got the first volume of White Knight. This is the third one, I think, correct?
Yeah, so this is the third one. They did a kind of like a side story with Harley Quinn after the original series and the Curse of the White Knight, and now this is the official third one in the kind of like
right.
I don't know if it's a trilogy or whatever. Yeah.
Now, I will say that a friend of our show and co-host of the Fight Inside podcast, Tim Baradas, is a huge Batman Beyond fan. Like, maybe more so than it deserves. But I would love for him to read this and give a review because
like for sure. He's already contacted me. Batman Beyond, aka Terry McGinnis, is his guy.
Yeah.
So he's definitely gonna check this out. This does
did he
Terry
get a
McGinnis.
Batman Beyond? I think he got a Batman Beyond chest tattoo, didn't he? Like a big, massive red bat symbol.
I believe he opted for the tramp stamp on the back. So
did he? Okay.
Watch out for him in the gym.
All right. But if you have an opportunity, if you're a big fight fan, and you know there may have been a fight in the last 24 hours, you want to check out the Fight Inside podcast with Tim Baradas.
Yeah. All right. And then I'm going to quickly show you a couple new things because I want to get on with this and then get to our movies. So I'm going to kind of blow through them here. So Rob, can I show you some expensive shit?
Yes, you can.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So first out the gate is one of your favorite games. That debuted on I think PlayStation 4. I think it was.
Yeah, this one. Yeah. This version. Yeah. God of War.
Yeah, so this is a big ass Prime 1 statue for God of War. This is the deluxe version, folks. So it comes with a whole bunch of interchangeable pieces. It comes with this armored version of him. I don't know the significance in the game. I guess you get pickups and you create this armor, and it's got a whole bunch of different facial expressions, which are really cool. So you can change that up. I think for a statue of this magnitude, it should come with a couple extras just to kind of make it worth your extra money. A couple of different weapons. I believe those are his glaives. I don't know from the first one. Yep. Used to have chains attached, and he would like swing them out.
Yeah, they are. So the chains are wrapped around his arm, as you can see there.
Yeah. So I think this is a really cool piece. Do you have any guesses on how much this thing would cost you, Rob?
Yeah, US dollars, 22 USD. Like 2200.
All right. So it's 1500 USD, so not as much, I guess.
Oh, 2200 Canadian then.
Yeah, there you go. You knew that. You just said it wrong. A lot of really cool stuff comes with this one. So if you are a fan of video games and want a very high-end collectible, hit me up and I can set you up with something like this. And you can make payments. Might be necessary. Who's this guy, Rob? Is this the greatest villain ever known?
This is your boy. This is your boy, Mr. Mark Hamill.
Yeah. So this is the supreme bad guy, Skeletor, sitting on his throne. This is by Iron Studios. So this is a 1/10 scale Skeletor on his throne. You can get him for 315 USD, which is a very kind of like a little bit more tame price compared to some of the higher end collectibles. I do really like the details on the throne and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure they're going to have a matching He-Man come out. So yeah, these guys are going crazy with the 1/10 scale.
Well, I was just going to say the last number of weeks you've graced us with a number of Iron Studio statues and pieces. And I got to say, man, like their shit's on fire. I'm loving their sculpt design and everything. So yeah, I'm big fan of what Iron Studios.
They're killing it. They're killing it. This more quote unquote affordable range. Which I guess is the new affordable range is like 500 and under. We'll see who steps in and takes like the new $100 range because maybe the DC Direct is going to see a resurgence or something like that. Another piece I want to show you is Moon Knight because Moon Knight debuts this week. Am I wrong, Rob?
Yeah. No, you are right. Wednesday, Disney Plus. Yep.
Yeah. Oh man, are you going to watch it the day it comes out?
I am. I'm watching it Wednesday evening because John, I think we're probably going to be doing a review the following day. Yeah.
All right, Moon Knight, folks. I hope you guys are excited for Moon Knight. This is another great 1/10 scale statue from Iron Studios. It can be gotten for 170 USD. If you're interested in any of these items, definitely hit me up. I can pre-order them for you, and we can work things out. And the last item I just want to show you, Rob, is this. This is an animated Batman, also from Iron Studios, with the animated Batmobile.
Come on,
this is a
seriously?
really cool piece. Yeah, so we showed off a similar Back to the Future piece. And I'm sure we're going to be showing off the Batman version of this. But this is the one, what some people say is the definitive Batman, which is Batman, the animated series. This super long Batmobile. Would the super long animated Batmobile make your top 3 list of Batmobiles, maybe, Rob? Or are you all about the Schumacher, Burton stuff?
I like the screw the Schumacher versions. I like the Tim Burton Batmobile. This is pretty cool. Although I have to say, I imagine making left hand and right hand turns would be very difficult. That's a huge.
Oh man,
like,
yeah. I don't know how you're gonna navigate this thing.
3-point turns to be next to him. You're like, it'd be like that scene out of Wayne's World where he's just back and forth, going back and forth. It'd be impossible.
Wayne's World, or maybe Austin Powers.
No, that's what I meant. I meant Austin Powers. Yeah, Mike Myers. Yeah. I do like the base on that though. The base is sick.
Yeah. So the statue and the Batmobile are going to be available separately, or you can get them together. I've got the prices here as follows. So 1,150 USD for the set, 1,050 for the just Batmobile, or you can just get the Batman for 150. So it is a really nice Batman statue. So I think any of these options you can't really go wrong. And like I said, Iron Studios is lighting it up. So definitely.
Yeah, I don't have the room maybe for that Batmobile, but that Batman statue would be like freaking awesome. Although I say I don't have the room, and of course you can see behind me, I've got I have plenty of room to put it on top.
I've seen people put a shelf across the window, the frame of the window behind you. It looks really funky, but it is doable if you want to do that. It is. I would be a little bit worried about the sun bleaching. Chris Ho says animated Batman skips leg day. All the animated characters seem to skip leg day, or they just are very light on their feet. Rob, let's cut to the news so we can get to talking about everybody's favorite movies. Rob, what do you got that is anything non-Oscar related, or are we just going all Oscars all day today?
You know what? We can. I got a couple of things of non-Oscar related information if you'd like to go over it. Once again, thanks everybody who are.
No, people just want to hear about the Oscars.
I know. People. So thanks for those who are tuning in. It's the Heroes World Sidekick Show. Thanks so much for joining John and myself. We have a rundown of our top 5 most rewatchable movies. We have some caveats that we've made some changes to things, but that's coming up in a second. But first, the news. Before we jump into the Oscar stuff, John, Spider-Man: No Way Home still making news. It is the 3rd movie to cross the 800 million box office, domestic box office take, behind Star Wars: The Force Awakens and Endgame. So that's a huge accomplishment. And I believe it racked up, oh man, I should have written the number down. I don't remember if it was 21. I think it was $2.14 million in digital sales in its first week. So 2 million in digital sales.
If you said first minute, I wouldn't have been surprised.
Like, right.
First minute that it went online and made this much, I would not be surprised at all.
Yeah, so that's a huge accomplishment. It is doing incredible business digitally. It is still making a couple million each weekend as it still goes through the box office. So it is dropping on your physical media of choice midway through April. I want to say like the 12th or the 19th or something. So if you're waiting for your 4K or Blu-ray copy, it's around the corner.
It's coming. It's on the way.
Another Marvel news is Marvel is developing a Nova property. Now, we don't know if Nova is going to be a movie, if it's going to be a TV series. I don't know. We don't know if it's Richard Rider or any of the other individuals who have taken up the mantle of Nova. But John, is this something that excites you? Nova coming to a screen at some point.
I'm interested in which particular version of Nova. I know people want Richard Rider, the original classic Nova, but they might go with the younger one because Marvel is already setting up all these younger characters, aka the new champions team. So we'll see what happens. A really good Marvel book to read is Annihilation, which is the whole thing with Nova and a whole bunch of the cosmic characters. But I feel like they've already passed that point, like when Guardians hit all that stuff. So I'm thinking they're going to go younger, which is fine by me. I'm down with whatever Marvel's got coming. Right.
All right, so we're going to jump into the Oscar stuff now because I know everybody's probably itching. We're going to get to the elephant, not really elephant. We're going to talk about the Will Smith thing in a minute, but I'm going to give a quick rundown of everything else that you may find interesting. John, did you watch the Oscars last night?
I watched parts of it.
Okay, all right. I'm not sure if if any of our listeners or our viewers got a chance to watch it. I was attending a dance showcase for my daughter. I got home about
you said participating wrong. You said participating wrong. You said attending.
I was participating in a dance showcase with my daughter. So I missed the first part. Of course, being the movie guy that I am, I recorded it. I'm assuming that Sarah and Gord were probably watching it. I think this is probably one of Gord's favorite nights of the year. But I'm going to give a quick rundown of the big winners here. Best director, Jane Campion took director for The Power of the Dog, which is currently on Netflix if you feel so inclined to watch it. I watched it. I'm a Western fan. John, we've talked about this. It's not my favorite movie whatsoever. It's not. I would never watch the movie again. It is beautifully shot. It looks great. But
watch one.
Shit, it is. It's The Power of Snooze. It was horrible for me. Not a big fan. But Jane Campion, this is her second win. Supporting actor was Troy Kotsur, one for Coda, the first deaf male actor to win an Academy Award. Supporting actress was Ariana DeBose, who won for West Side Story. Jessica Chastain won for The Eyes of... as an aside, Coda is available on Apple TV Plus if you have that. West Side Story is available on Disney Plus in Canada. And also on Disney Plus in Canada is The Eyes of Tammy Faye, which nabbed Jessica Chastain a supporting actress role. And Will Smith won the actress, and Will Smith won the actor award for King Richard, which is currently on Crave TV in Canada. So all those movies are available for you to watch. There's all throughout the streaming services,
and they've already. I don't know if you popped on it all today, Rob. They've already added Academy Award winner to the banners that scroll across. They're ready. Like the night as soon as it was announced, they were probably like,
oh yeah,
upload this. So yeah, good for them.
Jane Campion is the second female director in a row, John, to win a Best Director. Chloe Zhao won last year for Nomadland. No Time to Die by Billie Eilish and Phineas O'Connell marks the third straight win for a James Bond movie for original song. The first one was Adele. And then Sam Smith. Is that Sam Shepard? No, Sam Smith.
Sam Shepard.
Sam Shepard. Yeah.
You want Sam Smith, the king of very depressing songs.
Yeah, so he won for Spectre, right? Skyfall was Adele. So No Time to Die won an Oscar. So that's pretty cool.
For you.
Yeah, for me. Also, cool for me, and not so much for Scott, who was messaging you and I in private in almost what may be perceived as rage, and wouldn't be the only person who had a rageful moment throughout the night. Dune won most.
Don't compare Scott to the event that happened in the night.
No. Dune won most of the Oscars of the night. It won 6 out of its 10 nominations. And for a while there, some people were starting to surmise it could be an upset and a sweep for Dune, which, interestingly enough, its director, Denis Villeneuve, was not nominated. Neither was the director of the overall winner of the night, which is Coda, John. It won Best Picture. And a couple of things that actually, it was interesting to watch. We've discussed this in the past that the Oscars tend to not recognize the more populist movies. So this year they had 2, hey Scott, they had 2, categories that there was no trophy involved. It was bragging rights. It was called a fan favorite moment in your fan favorite movie. Now, my son messaged me in a rage because he was pissed off that, first of all, Zack Snyder's Justice League won the fan favorite moment, which is the Flash entering the Speed Force. That apparently beat out 3 Spider-Men coming together at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home. Listen, I love that moment of the Flash entering the Speed Force, but for that to be voted and the winner of the fan favorite moment was bananas to me. But even more bananas, John, is that Army of the Dead, Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, won the fan favorite movie of the year, again, beating out Spider-Man, which didn't even come in second. It came in 5th. So I
was going to dig up the video clip. I think this came up in a discussion, and Rob's like, well, No Way Home's going to win all this shit. And I was like, really, unanimously? And he was like, yeah, for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
So what an upset.
Well, listen, Zack Snyder may have the power of the anonymous web crew. I don't know what they do, but They seem to just dominate the online chatter and troll all
Snyder
those.
Army. The Snyder Army.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's foolish of DC not to acknowledge this. If you guys are Twitter users, basically every day at least once a week, maybe more, you pop on and see what's trending, and it's always at least one item related to Snyder Cut, release the Snyder Cut or whatever type thing. So it's really weird of them not to try and work this out. So yeah. Anyways, I was surprised as you when I saw that article, Army of Dead, which was a fun watch, but I don't see how it beat No Way Home.
Yeah, no, neither do I. And admittedly, the other 3 movies, one was Tick Tick Boom, which is on Netflix. I have with Andrew Garfield, one of the Spider-Men. I haven't seen it yet, but the other 2, I was surprised they even made like these favorite movies. Yeah, whatever, man. Listen, there's no prize. There's no prize. There's no trophy. There's no statue. There's bragging rights. But I have to say, I have a really, as much as I love, and as much as I love Snyder's Justice League, and I've watched it, 4 or 5 times. I love that scene of Flash entering the Speed Force, and there's no way that beats out cinematically watching all 3 Spider-Men come together. Which sounds a lot dirtier than I meant it to, John. All right. And I guess nothing else happened, John. Was there anything else that may have happened? Oh, right.
Yeah. Meg Thee Stallion dropped a bunch of bars on We Don't Talk About Bruno. So I'm looking forward to that remix coming out on Spotify. And that was it. Right?
I don't understand that song. My daughter has played it a few times. I don't get the song. I don't know why people love that song. I find it annoying as all hell. But whatever. I'm not the.
Hey, if you listen to any of the Frozen on repeat, I'm surprised you didn't put in your time for that. But anything better than that is welcome.
And lastly, John, it was the slap heard around the world. Obviously, just a few moments before Will Smith was anointed as the winner of an actor in a leading category. He slapped Chris Rock for making a joke about his wife. Now, this has been spoken to ad nauseum, to death. What are you and I going to say on the matter that already hasn't been said? That being said, John, it never fails to happen to us that right before we are about to go live, we get breaking news. And so this came out just a little while ago. It was an apology from Will Smith posted to his Instagram account. And I'm just going to read it here. It says, "Violence in all of its forms is poisonous and destructive. My behavior last night's Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable. Jokes at my expense are a part of the job, but a joke about Jada's medical condition was too much for me to bear, and I reacted emotionally. I would like to publicly apologize to you, Chris. I was out of line and I was wrong. I am embarrassed, and my actions were not indicative of the man I want to be. There is no place for violence in a world of love and kindness. I would also like to apologize to the Academy, the producers of the show, the attendees, and everyone around the world watching. I would like to apologize to the Williams family and my King Richard family. I deeply regret that my behavior has stained what has been an otherwise gorgeous journey for all of us. I am a work in progress. Sincerely, Will." Released an hour ago. So I'm not sure if everybody was aware of that, but there you go. There's his apology. I mean, I watched it live. So I got a quick little funny anecdote here, John. My son and I were watching it. We're on the couch. We're watching this show. I said, "Sure, you can stay up late night, buddy. We'll watch the show." He goes, "It'll be done by 11. I'm like, "Yeah, okay, novice." And we were watching it, and it happens. And I got to say, at first, John, I was like, I thought it was a work. I thought we were watching something along the lines of Andy Kaufman style, like get up, like slap Dave, on the David Letterman show where he slapped the King Jerry Lawler. I was like, this is a work. And yet I felt really uncomfortable. And then when everything started being bleeped out and you couldn't hear, and my son's like, "What's wrong with the volume?" I'm like, "They're bleeping it out." And then you go to see Will Smith and you see, the people behind him, and they're like, "Oh, that doesn't look happy." And you're like, "Oh man," it felt really uncomfortable watching it. my son decides to jump on to Twitter because that's what 13-year-olds do, John.
Yeah.
To see what the reaction was. He's going on Twitter. I'm looking at Twitter.
I thought to check the Snyder Cut
he did.
tweets.
He was like, this is bullshit. He's like, look, Will Smith just tweeted out Welp. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. I'm surprised that he's tweeting already, right, during the show. And he, Will Smith kept tweeting. And I said to my son, can I see your phone for a second? Because you keep showing me like this. It was the wrong Will Smith. It was a guy is a verified account at Will Smith. But that's not the Will Smith. This is a white dude. He's a ginger with a beard, and his profile photo is as plain as day. It is definitely not Will Smith. This man has amassed apparently 73,000 followers.
His account must be exploding right now.
His phone is going off like crazy. So that was my experience watching it. It was really awkward. Like, I felt really awkward for the whole entire thing. John, what was your experience watching it last night?
Yeah, so I just stumbled across it on social media. So, folks, if you guys just stumbled across it, or maybe you woke up this morning to it, let us know in the chat. But yeah, I was just, doing my usual thing, scrolling through social media, and I saw that little breaking little banner on top of the Facebook thing, and it's like Will Smith smacks Chris Rock, and I'm like, oh, this must be a bit. This must be some clickbait stuff. And then I watched the clip, and I was like, damn, I experienced the full uncensored clip. So I guess whatever was on that social media, they posted the full uncensored one. And like you, I thought, hey, this is kind of a joke. He kind of walks up. The joke that Chris Rock threw out didn't seem overly crazy. And then the slap happens, and you're like, okay, cool acting, guys. And then they played the audio from Will Smith yelling across the stage at what had to be the top of his lungs. And it did not look like a skit. That looked serious. That looked really emotional. So whatever's going on there, we'll probably never know the true extent of what happened behind that. But I'm fans of both of these performers, so I'm hoping that they can work it out, or something can become of this. And Will Smith's apology, I guess, is the road to him figuring out what he's going to do to atone for this. But it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
The rest of the night, I think I guess he sat back down, and they carried on because everyone was probably in shock. So I'm interested to see, kind of interested to see the repercussions, but also kind of like it's bad for all parties involved. So I don't know.
I hear you, man. Yeah, it's like I said. What are you and I? We're just two knuckleheads, right? Like, what are we gonna say that hasn't already been said? Somebody in the comments said that they should strip him of his award. That's not going to happen. They're not going to strip him of his award. Now, could he face some type of like he's barred from attending any future stuff for the next year or so? Yeah, maybe. Who knows, right? It's hard to say. There's a lot of, now you're getting into the backstage, firsthand, secondhand accounts of what was happening afterwards. The president of the Academy and the producers scrambling, trying to figure it out, in between commercial breaks going down there. There's a lot of conversation. Was the joke appropriate? Was it not? Who are we to say? Comedians do this. Like, let's travel back in time a few years and Ricky Gervais making fun of a whole bunch of people. Imagine anybody going up and slapping. Like, it doesn't, it was wrong to do it, in my opinion, especially live like that. These things you could have waited till afterwards, but whatever. I'm not Will Smith. I'm not Chris Rock. I do want to say, regardless of where you fall in the spectrum of whether you support Will or if you're mad at Chris, at least Chris Rock, like, he literally just took it and kept going. Pro. He made that one kind of snide joke about the greatest moment in TV history. Yep. And that you could tell he was rattled by it. It was not something to be expected. And I think he understood the gravity of the situation, that, holy shit, everybody here is shell-shocked, and I'm just being broadcast to like 80 million people around the world. This is not going to end well for me. So yeah, he could have, retaliated. I will say this, though. The other thing I was really surprised about, John, men usually use our fists when you get into a fight. It's very rare that you see somebody actually, another man slap somebody, unless we're talking like back in the days of Edward V. So it was very weird to see a full-on slap from one man to another. But
the execution did look kind of semi it was like, well, it looked like a movie. It looked like a movie slap, right? Yeah, like I don't know what would happen. Yeah, it obviously something else is going on. and I think Will Smith's apology is already kind of gives you the indication that he was 100% in the wrong. Is there some reasoning behind what he did? And then maybe something can come from that. But yeah,
That's right.
literally, like,
You
yeah,
take
Lewis
off
is right.
his
Yeah,
glove
Chelsea
and
too.
snap.
Yeah, so maybe, yeah, we'll see what happens in the, I guess, in the upcoming days, weeks, months, whatever, on how something like this can happen and what the repercussions are for doing something like this. But yeah, there's stories on the both sides. I don't think you necessarily need to choose a side, like some people are doing right now. But I think in the apology, Will Smith has already stated he's wrong, and I think he's correct. You should not be putting your hands on someone if they are not, kind of threatening the same force as you. But I think there's a whole other debate that many people are going to analyze and debate on. So I don't know how long we should dwell on it.
No more time.
Yeah. So I think, oh man, Good's got the best one. I bite my thumb at you, sir. Which Rob, do you think we should ever rewatch? Remember that remake with Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes,
Romeo and Juliet,
Romeo plus Juliet?
Yeah, right.
Where they're fighting at the gas station and they're like, I bite my thumb at you, sir, and they whip out their guns and stuff. I don't know. I feel like that actually might be, it might have aged well.
Maybe. I remember going to the theater to see that with Kelly, with my wife, and there were some girls
Kelly.
There were some girls in front of us who would have been in high school, and they were shocked to shit at the ending. And I remember, like, my wife, we were dating, we looked at each other, and I'm like, it's Shakespeare. Like, how do you not know what the ending is? It's like going to Titanic and being completely shocked that the fucking boat sank. You're like, wait a minute. You would have learned about this in grade 9 or grade 10 English. What is wrong with you? So they obviously skipped that day. So thanks everybody for tuning in. That was our news. That was our reviews or previews rather of what's coming out in the Heroes World store up at Warden and Highway 7. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. So we are going to get into the main part of the show here. Our top 5 most rewatchable movies. Now, before John gets in his, I'm just going to a quick preamble because, well, shit, I like hearing myself talk. I decided to not bring up movies that I've already discussed in the past. So there's no Superman, the movie. There's no 89 Batman. There's no Interstellar. No Dread, no Crow, like all of the movies that we've actually kind of either reviewed or we've talked about in the past, no Lethal Weapon. So I've avoided all of those movies because those are definitely my most rewatched movies. I can throw those in at any time. And instead I brought some movies that I figured John wouldn't pick. Because again, it'd be no fun if he and I end up picking the same movies.
I think it would be fantastic fun, but I know us, and I know that was not going to happen. I think there's going to be a couple people in the audience that might line up with me. Especially, I'm glad my brother's on. Hopefully he's staying on for a little while. Because I feel like some of our lists might be virtually the same. But folks, get your list ready now. Rob, do you want to count them down, five and up, or do you want to go through each person's list first?
No, well, we can start with our 5 and your number 5 and 4 and back and forth. You want to do that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's do that, folks. So if you've taken the time to order your list, please get your number 5 ready. I'm favoriting some of your comments. So thank you everybody for the comments. I'm favoriting some of your comments, and then we're going to go back and dive into them if they don't kind of intersect with what we're going to be talking about.
But because we're idiots, do me a favor. If you're putting your movie in here as your number 5 pick, can you just put a number like the number 5?
Put hashtag number 5 and the movie so we can count that along with you. And so I've grabbed the movies and I've taken a still image from just a random shot from the movie. So you can play a little game with us. Rob's going to be able to play against my picks because I had to put all this together. So I unfortunately got spoiled to Rob's picks. But my memory is pretty shoddy, so maybe I'll forget in a second. So we're going to pop the pick up. Rob will do a little bit of a lead up to the movie, and hopefully you guys can guess it in the comments. I feel like a lot of these are going to be pretty easy, Rob. So do you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
Doesn't matter. I can go first if you want. That's fine.
All right. So, folks, number 5 on Rob's most rewatch list. Oh, before we get into it, my rewatch list is literally the movies I've watched the most. So if I'm going for sheer volume here. I've chopped T2 off the list because we've talked about it so much. and a couple others that we talked about during our 80s and 90s kind of rewatches and stuff. So
No
you
Point
might
Break.
not see those. Yeah. No Point Break.
It's on my
All
list,
right.
but it's No Point Break. All
right. So Rob, let's go with Rob's number 5, folks. I'm going to pop up the picture, and you guys can feel free to guess in the comments what this movie is. So let's go, Rob. Number 5.
Debbie Does Dallas. Oh, yes.
Again.
Whoops. Yeah. I just saw Gord's comment. Yeah. So my number 5 is Pulp Fiction, which weirdly enough just was, I guess, celebrated its 1994. It was at 2004, like 25-year anniversary or whatever last night at the Oscars, or his 30th year, whatever. Anyways. This movie, I remember going to see this movie at Fairview Mall, old school Fairview Mall in Scarborough, where the you had to go up the escalator in the food court to go see it. They oversold the theater. My buddy John and I went with some other friends, and people were sitting in the aisles, like on the stairs, because they had oversold the theater. And
this is
John
a ridiculous
and I,
notion. They would never do this nowadays, right?
Right. It was what we would call nowadays a fire hazard. So halfway through the movie, we were at the very corner end. And so John, he and I swapped seats halfway through. I was on the floor and vice versa. This is the time, kids, before you got to reserve your seat, you had to line up for like 3 hours in advance, if not longer, to get in to see a movie. Pulp Fiction, directed by Quentin Tarantino, coming off of Reservoir Dogs, highly anticipated movie, because I was a huge fan of Reservoir Dogs. This is a movie I can throw on. I have to be careful now that I have kids because I can't throw it on just willy-nilly. But there's so much nuance, so many performances in this that just, the Royale with cheese. What do they call a Big Mac? What do they call a Whopper in France? I don't know. I never went to Burger King. I
never got it, right? So Rob actually recommended this. Like when we were talking about movies, I actually watched Pulp Fiction for the first time during this whole podcasting revolution we got here. So the last 2 years is when I watched Pulp Fiction. And remember in Simpsons, they do that bit. They do they call it Krusty Burger, and then what do they call it? They call it Big Mac with cheese and whatever. And I was like, that's a funny bit on The Simpsons, but it was taken straight from this movie, which is hilarious.
Yeah. So I wanted to, listen to this. I'm a big fan of Quentin Tarantino's. I am that generation. I am a Tarantino stan. So for me, Pulp Fiction is up there. So that's my number 5.
Yeah. All right. So number 5. So for me, I'm going to pop up the picture and we're going to see, since Rob is here live, see if he can guess. If you can guess before Rob, I don't know if you're going to be able to guess from one screenshot. My brother is probably going to get this and he's going to psychically already know this because he knows and he can probably vouch that I'm 100% telling the truth when I said, these are the movies I've seen the most. So I'm going to pop it up on the screen, Rob, see if you can guess it. This one here, starring Matthew Perry and Salma Hayek. Any guesses? No.
I can't think of the name of the movie. It's
there's a clue. He's right in the back. There's an Elvis right in the back. You can.
It's
probably
not Honeymoon in Vegas.
No, it's definitely not.
Yeah,
it's much sillier. Honeymoon in Vegas would probably be an actual legit choice, but this is in fact Fools Rush In.
Oh my! Are you kidding me right now?
I watched this movie so many times. I think it was hot off of his success from The Friends. So the only other way to see him in action was this movie, and Salma Hayek came in. It is the traditional story of the clashing of cultures in a romantic comedy, which is a really good. I don't know if you call it a trope or a formula that you can do right now and have fun with it. So Chris Ho showed. You'll see. Look, Fools Rush In. Sarah's gotten it. Chris Ho for sure got it. And he actually shouts out that we have the Laserdisc. Yeah, so I still have it, Chris. It's still in my collection. I didn't give it away.
Oh, dirty! That was your wedding song too because of this movie?
I don't think it was because of this movie. I just liked Elvis at the time. But shout outs to Fools Rush In. I think it's still fun. I haven't watched it in some time. I don't know how well these romantic comedies stand up So let's jump to a couple.
That's an
top
important.
fives.
That's an important point, though, John. Like I haven't watched Pulp Fiction in a number of years, so
Yeah.
it'd be interesting to go back. I mean, it'll never die with me, but yeah, it's been a couple years since I've seen it.
Yeah, I feel like the style that Tarantino had, like I said, I watched it within the last 2 years, and it still was really good to watch for me.
Yeah.
So Sarah shouts out her number 5, which is Pitch Perfect, the movie about underground a cappella singing, starring Anna Kendrick, and various others. None of them come to mind at the moment. But she said she loves singing along, and I feel like that's a component of something that is definitely rewatchable. I feel like Encanto is about to become one of those because my daughters have it on repeat. So the new movies, because I don't have time to rewatch stuff, is going to get replaced by all these kids movies that my kids really love, and I do quite love Encanto. But Pitch Perfect, yeah, Anna Kendrick. I believe she sings "No Diggity" by Blackstreet in their first underground sing off, and then the movie was such a big hit. I believe James Corden or someone ripped it off, and it's a bit on their show where they have a bunch of the Philharmonic come on and they do a sing off. So let's see if anyone else dropped their number 5. I think I saw Frasier, and this is one of the ones that when I posted on social media, a lot of people shouted this one out, Spaceballs.
This really surprised me.
Spoof on Star Wars. I do remember watching this along when I was a kid. The main John Candy as Barf. Joan Rivers, I think, was a C-3PO like a robot. They fought with the Schwartz. And it had Rick Moranis, I think, was a Darth Vader
Helmet
character. Dark Helmet. And I remember there was one guy in there. I think is he from the Police Academy where he's like, we're missing the beeps, and the sweeps or something like that. Arnold Jones or something like that. So I think
that was a Mel Brooks movie. I watched that a lot. But, I watched Spaceballs a lot, but I haven't seen it in a number of years. I'm surprised it's that. So I think Gord said it. I'm surprised that I saw it on the Facebook posting, but that so many people are.
I think a lot of these rewatch movies are gonna be, especially for me, from my childhood, because that was when you would watch the movie, immediately finishing it, you would just fire it up again. You would hit rewind, fire it up again, or the next day when you're off for summer, which felt like an eternity when we were kids, right? You just pop that movie in again. So Scare shouts out the cactus scene from my movie Fools Rush In.
Lewis is going crazy with his John Woo picks.
Yeah, Lewis, I said pick a number 5, so I'm going to star these for later, unless you number one of them your number 5. And I'm gonna star your comments too, Gord. We're gonna get to those unless you pick one as your number 5. So yeah, Lou's got a whole bunch of them. All right, Spaceballs, yeah. So
all right,
yeah, Chris Ho's Police Story. All right, so since no one else numbered theirs as number 5, we're gonna go on. And do you want to hit them with your number 4, Rob?
Sure. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. All right, number 4, folks, get ready. Are you gonna sing the song to help people out, Rob?
Nope. I will not, because that is a Young Guns too. This is the first one, John. Young Guns, starring Emilio Estevez. Listen, it was all of the hot young actors of the day. Kiefer Sutherland, Emilio Estevez, Lou Diamond Phillips, Charlie Sheen, Casey Sismasco from 3 O'Clock High. Remember that, John? 3 O'Clock High.
I do not.
Okay. Oh, I watched that movie a lot too. 3 O'Clock High and Dermot Mulroney. Listen, this was probably my it wasn't my gateway into Westerns because I watched some Westerns before as a younger kid, but this was my Western, like growing up, like this is my era. And it's ridiculous. And yet I just watched this maybe about a year and a half ago during COVID and still love this movie. It's stupid. It's silly. It's a very fantastical tale about Billy the Kid, and about true events that happened around Billy the Kid and the regulators with the Tunstall War, the cattle war in New Mexico. And, it's pure fun, it's silliness, but there are some really cool as hell moments in this movie, including the end battle scene is phenomenal. It always gets me. So yeah, Young Guns is on my.
So I don't know if I've ever seen this. Maybe if I watch a couple scenes from it, I'll remember. But I do love me some Lou Diamond Phillips, like you said, the entire cast. Gord's making fun of the poster. The poster does look fake as hell, and I'm pretty sure you can make this on Photoshop very easily. Even a rookie could do.
Yeah, but this is 1988, right? Like, this is 1988. So this was, some good shit for 1988. Shut up, Gord. All right.
I wonder if they kind of cut and paste everybody, or they actually got everyone together for this particular shot. So let's shout out my number. Yeah, I'm curious if they did it. So my number 4, which I feel like is going to be pretty easy. I feel like you can get this one right off the gate, Rob, but maybe not. Let's see.
Dragon, the Bruce Lee story.
Yes, so Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. Growing up, a big Bruce Lee fan because this movie opened the door. Woefully inaccurate that I find out later on in my in growing up, but it was a kind of like a taste of what Bruce Lee was about. Had some very quotable lines, a lot of things from his philosophy, and Jason Scott Lee was charming as hell in this movie. And there, like we've probably talked about before, there wasn't a lot of Asian leads in movies back then, so naturally I gravitate towards Dragon. I'm pretty sure Chris is going to make fun of me because he probably remembers that we own the VHS for this, and I don't remember if I upgraded to Laserdisc, but hold on, someone. Scott dropped his number 5 before we move on to Sarah's number 4, but Scott Graziano's number 5, Dazed and Confused.
Oh boy,
Rob, I feel like
Richard
this
Linklater
is a movie for you as well.
Oh, I love Dazed and Confused, man. I just watched that a little while ago as well. Yeah, man, I really, Ben Affleck's first movie, and the first real movie with Matthew McConaughey. Which is really kind of creepy because he's like, the one thing I like about high school girls is the older I get, the more they stay the same age. All right.
Yeah, this is the famous Matthew McConaughey. All right, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I feel like I've definitely seen this, but I think I was too young at the time to appreciate anything that was going on. I was just like, I don't get this. So I think I would have to rewatch this.
Let me go back to your pick, though, Dragon. I went to the theater and saw this movie. I loved this movie. I've seen it a number of times. A good pick. Jason Scott Lee, I believe, he's Hawaiian. But yes. I remember, I remember, the reason I point that out is I remember, like, the lead up to this movie, they were like, oh, Jason Scott Lee. They're like, no relation. Like,
no, not at all.
But yeah, this was a really cool, and very quotable movie, John, especially about the dishwasher line.
Dishwasher, be like water, all the kind of stuff.
That's right.
They had a lot of fun with it. I don't know if I could rewatch it nowadays, knowing all I know now, but maybe I will watch it out of nostalgia. But yes,
I'd watch it again. Cool.
Yeah. All right. So let's go. I saw Sarah's number 4. Let me just find it. There's a lot of things getting thrown out here. Gordon's making fun of me that that's not actually Bruce Lee. Did you see Sarah's number 4? I saw it here. Oh, here, Labyrinth. So,
wow.
She agrees with me. When you're a kid, you have a lot of time to watch movies many, many times. So a lot of these lists might not necessarily be anything you've watched in the last, 10 years or something like that. Labyrinth. Who's in that? That was a David Bowie.
Yeah, David Bowie. Yeah, it was a Jim Henson.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Jennifer Connelly, right?
Oh,
David Bowie. Yeah. I like the fact that Gord is sitting here quoting to us, I guess, which is his number 4, which is Mallrats. Which was a huge bomb at the box office and yet gained massive cult following.
Yeah, I remember that was
Kevin Smith's.
I remember we had exactly one copy.
I'm a huge fan of Mallrats. I love Mallrats. And in fact, they actually used Mallrats had Stan Lee in it, and they actually used, if you remember, the Captain Marvel movie a couple years ago. It takes place during the time of Mallrats being filmed, and Stan Lee's cameo is on the bus reading the script of Mallrats because he was in that movie. So it's a pretty cool.
They just filmed him on the side. Fraser shouts out Goonies as would he be his number 4 as most rewatched. I don't know if it translates to nowadays. I don't know how well this movie stands up. I don't think I've seen it since I was like in my youth, but it wasn't one of the movies I had on repeat.
I watched Goonies. We've talked about that a lot in this show. I'm a big fan of the Goonies. I showed my kids a couple years ago. Well, at least my son. He liked it quite a bit. But yeah, no, definitely rewatchable. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So Mallrats, good shout outs. So my brother does shout out the video game. We did play Enter the Dragon, the Bruce Lee story video game, which was pretty ridiculous. I do also own the soundtrack for the movie. I was gonna go to my mom's house and try to dig all this stuff up, but there's too much stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
So I was all in on this. But yeah, I haven't watched it in some time. Chris, yeah, T2 would probably have been number one on my list, but I'm skipping it because we've talked about it so much. So you will probably agree with my number one for sure. I don't see anyone else with their number four. So let's go on. You want to go on to your number three, Rob?
Hells yeah, I do.
Yeah. All right. So number three, folks, feel free to guess or name that movie.
Name
this
that
looks
movie.
Like
also
a young
with Emilio Estevez.
Yeah.
That's two movies in my list with Emilio.
Is Mighty Ducks number one? That's what you gotta ask your folks. Is
Men
Mighty
at
Ducks
Work.
number one?
Men at Work.
Men at Work.
Yeah, so this is obviously we're I think probably a bit delayed. There we are. Breakfast Club. Fraser got it. Sarah has it. Yeah. So John, a couple weeks ago we were talking about movies on in VHS packaging. This is a Blu-ray. The 30th anniversary of this movie on Blu-ray.
Look at this. Hold on. Sorry. Let me make this screen bigger. Hold on. Sorry, I didn't want to press the wrong button.
Look at that. So it's a Blu-ray, the 30th anniversary. It's in clamshell VHS style packaging, old school packaging, with everything, the spine, everything else like that. Listen, I've watched this movie countless times. This probably. I mean, I think it was 86 or so when it came out, so I would have been 12. So maybe a couple years ahead of me because I obviously wasn't in high school. But man, John Hughes, he wrote if you could, take movies and write them towards your life, and what you were going through. He was my Shakespeare, right? Like between The Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I'm a huge fan of Weird Science. 16 Candles, even though that's probably and Pretty in Pink, those are less on my list, but
yeah,
I love The Breakfast Club. I've always found it, and again, we've talked about it, with Stu on a Heroes World podcast, and you have those bottle episodes, but this all takes place inside the library of the school for Saturday detention, and it's very difficult to craft a movie where there is no other scenes, like there's no other scenery, there's nothing else. It all takes place. But for me, some of those best movies, in my opinion, are the ones that it's like a play. I can go to Glengarry Glen Ross as an example, or even 12 Angry Men, which were both plays, turned into movies. But when you have these people contained into one setting, and it's the story that propels the momentum forward, I love it. I'm a huge fan of The Breakfast Club, and Simple Minds, that was probably their biggest hit, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Don't you forget about me.
Yeah. I didn't watch any of these types of movies until me and my wife got together. So I know this would probably be on her list for sure. So I think that's cool. Sarah says she would definitely watch it, and maybe it's a runner up on her list.
Look at this fool. It's so nostalgic today. Rob's on a dial-up connection.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with Rob's connection, but I'm gonna hit you guys with my number three, so we can keep rolling, and then we're gonna jump into the comments. I see a bunch of stuff in there, so it'll be pretty funny.
Why is there a problem with my connection?
You're a little pixelated.
That's weird.
Hold on.
All right,
opened up. Something is taking over my side of the screen. There we go. All right, so number three. I'm pretty sure you guys are gonna be able to guess this in a second.
Are you kidding me?
Yes. Number three is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie, the original first one, which, if my brother recalls correctly, we saw it twice in theaters. A very rare thing when you're at the younger age for us, because we would have to drive all the way up to Toronto. We lived in a smaller town. We'd drive up to Toronto. My uncle would take us to these movies, and he took us to this movie twice. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I don't get it. I don't think it gets much better than this. The number two is very close in the running for the amount of times we probably rewatched this first movie.
Is it Ninja Turtles 2?
Yeah. Ninja Turtles 2, because Keanu and all these guys. But let's jump to some number fours. Rob, how do you feel about Ninja Turtles? Would you put that anywhere on your list at all?
No, I wouldn't. I went to see it at the theater. I went twice to see it at the theater. I made my dad take me. Yeah, man, it was a lot of fun watching these guys on the screen. I have the trilogy, the original Turtle trilogy on DVD. I tried to show my son. Excuse me, he wasn't into it at all. He was more a fan. He was a fan of the more newer Michael Bay versions. But these are fun, man. Like this is a movie. While it's not on my list of rewatchability, if this was on, I would stop and I would sit and watch it. If it was on, if I was scrolling through and it happened to be on something, because there's something just so, and I don't mean this crassly, but simple about it, and yet it's just so entertaining, right? Like it's just. What you see is what you get, and it's just a lot of fun. So I'm a big fan of that movie.
Yeah. Chris was making fun of me because of Vanilla Ice on the soundtrack for number 2, which I did buy the cassette tape for, and the audio was trash on it. I don't know if it was a glitch in the particular cassette tapes that I picked up, or if it was just a bad master on their point. But let's jump into the comments here. So I saw Scott shouts out The Naked Gun. I do have fond memories of The Naked Gun. Leslie Nielsen, right?
Yep.
Yeah, really fun. The spoof movies before spoof movies became a thing, right? Like I feel like it predates stuff like Hot Shots and Scary Movie and all the kind of other stuff. It was like one of the originators for this kind. I
actually, movie, right? In the summertime when my son was down having surgery, before the night of the surgery, I showed him a couple movies, and Naked Gun was one of them. So he enjoyed the slapstick humor of it all. A bit weird watching it now with O.J. Simpson.
No way. Get out of here.
Yeah, it's a little awkward.
Imagine if he was the star of Terminator. What would happen? What would be the fate of the Terminator legacy? But let's jump to Sarah here. Sarah says her number 3 is Demolition Man, which we did talk about earlier in our 90s showdown. I do recall watching Demolition Man quite a few times because of Stallone, Sandy B, and Wesley Snipes. I'm sure my brother will recall those days. I do own that on DVD. Gordon shouts out one of your favorites, I think, Rob, Empire Records. I feel like I really wanted to like this movie, and I might have rented it once. I really like the idea of working at a record store. Seemed really cool, but I wasn't as into music at that time, I think.
I just actually watched this over the holidays because it was on. I think it's on Amazon Prime.
It's on Amazon or Crave, maybe. I think.
Yeah, it was one of those. But I remember when this movie came out, there was this guy I used to work with. His also name was Rob. It was at Rogers Video. He ordered this movie. It was 76 something just to get it in because he wanted to purchase it, like buy it. I remember then you started to see it on the Columbia. Remember the Columbia Records, the VHS? Yeah.
10 tapes for $1 or something like that.
That's right. So he. Yeah, man. That's really funny. Yeah.
All right, so Empire, I feel like that's definitely up for a rewatch because I do like watching some of those kind of teeny movies. Howard the Duck, Lewis, get out of here. Okay, this is legit. Fraser says Back to the Future, which did come up when I posted this on social medias. I feel like Back to the Future 1 and probably 2 at least are very rewatchable, and I feel like as kids, this was one of the biggest movies for us that grew up in the 80s, I guess 80s, and some of you might be like 90s babies or whatever, but Back to the Future.
It was actually hard to not put this on my list because I was a big fan of Back to the Future. But again, we've talked about it. I gotta just throw up a comment here from Instacanj, who as a buddy of mine, Anise. We went to high school together. And I will not. I'm not going to talk to him anymore. This is the end of our friendship. I've known him for years.
It's over.
He puts out, if it's on, I'm watching any of the Twilight movies. It was nice knowing you, bud.
I think that's fine. I think he's probably funny with you. He wanted you to pop that comment up. Let me see what else. I don't know if I erased some stuff here. I might have lost some comments. So if you said something, folks, please repost. I'm trying to mark them as favorites. My brother's trying to guess what my number 3 was, Bodyguard from Beijing, which is a Hong Kong movie. I actually excluded it from the list. Or Lilo and Stitch. I don't know if I got a chance to rewatch Lilo and Stitch that many times. Let's see here. Did anyone else shout out their numbers 3s? Airplane. Oh, we got number 3. We should be jumping to number 2, right? So Scott's got Airplane with John Candy, I believe, right?
Oh man, that's Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
No. All right,
Airplane's
fine.
like the precursor to the Naked Gun, man. It's like he's like, I have a drinking problem, and it's with Leslie Nielsen, and he's like, surely you must be joking. I'm not, and please don't call me Shirley. Sarah, it is a safe spot. It is a safe space. Okay. Are we jumping to number twos? Is that what we're doing?
All right. Yeah. So yeah, let's go. Let's go number twos. Maybe don't say it like that, but go ahead with your number two.
Who
Rob.
does number two work for? You also, he's sitting down on he's squatting, so it's very apropos. Okay, I want to go because a lot of these picks are from like the 80s and 90s, John. I'm jumping into a more recent pick. Paul Thomas Anderson's There Will Be Blood with Daniel Day-Lewis and Paul Dano, who we just saw as the Riddler.
Yeah.
This movie, the first 20 minutes, there's no dialogue at all. I shall not. However, what a phenomenal movie. Daniel Day-Lewis turns in another Oscar-winning performance. I believe is also won Best Picture of the Year. This is something that you can't just throw on and watch 15, 20 minutes of because you find yourself completely hooked on it and will just you just keep want to keep watching it. It's so enrapturing. If you were a fan of PTA, Paul Thomas Anderson, you were going to love this movie. If you're just a fan of a good drama, of good storytelling, you're going to love it. If you're a fan of Daniel Day-Lewis, this is right up your alley. I mean, honestly, this is something I see Gord saying that it's been on his list for a while. Time
Rob
to do
keeps
it.
mentioning it. I haven't watched it either, so maybe me and you, Gord, we're gonna go.
Gord, you've never seen There Will Be Blood? I am shocked to shit. Honestly, I went to the theater to see this, and I came out and I was like, when this comes out on, I have to get this. And I've seen this a fair number of times since it was released. I love There Will Be Blood. This came out the same year, John, as No Country for Old Men. So it was very tough. Like those two movies were neck and neck for the Oscars that year. So yeah.
So I'm gonna refrain from asking you what it's about because I feel like if I just watch it, not knowing what the hell's going on, might be a little more fun. Chris does shout out Dark Knight is on his list somewhere. Rob, normally if you made this list without your stipulations, would Dark Knight have made your top 5 rewatchables? You've talked about watching it many a time.
It would probably be in my. It would definitely. It's my top 10. It would be in my top 7. How's that?
Okay, so it wouldn't make your top 5
because I feel like it would be in my top. Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's rock and roll. I got my number 2 coming up. And in light of recent situations, I debated on changing this, but it is.
And you messaged me. Yeah, I knew exactly what movie you were throwing up there. I was like, "What?"
Do I want to avoid this? But it's still maybe a reason why I'm so affected by recent effects. But it is Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, in the movie that I'm pretty sure everybody knows, which is Bad Boys by Michael Bay. This movie became like a way of life for me. I had like all the copies of it. I've got it on Laserdisc. It spans 3 different Laserdiscs that you got to switch and flip over at various courses. I had the soundtrack. I think I have the CD single for Diana King's Shy Guy. Number 1, huge. It was on the charts for like a million years. I could probably I think me, you, and Stu talked about one time, would we be able to recite a movie line for line? And I think Bad Boys is one of the only movies that I could do that with.
This is I'm actually surprised this isn't your number 1, to be very honest with you, because this is your, which makes me nervous about what your number 1 is. Because I have a funny feeling it's like Legally Blonde or something like that, or or How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days or something.
Man, how would you guys think?
But yeah, this is your thing, man. And you know what? Like, I was kind of riffing on you last year, or maybe it was January of 2020. Fuck, it's so long ago. Riffing on you about, because Bad Boys 3 had come out, and I was like, what the hell is this shit?
Yeah, I
have them on Blu-ray. I admittedly, Bad Boys 2 puts me to sleep. I don't know what it is. I have a tough time watching it. But this one, man, I do like. There are some issues still with it, but it does hold up. It is a fun watch. It is funny, and it's funny, right? Like they capture. It's funny.
These 2 stars, yeah. Will Smith, big fan of his from Fresh Prince, his music, just his personality at the time, everything. And then Martin coming off Martin Lawrence coming off the Martin Lawrence or Martin TV show. And then
also in House Party and everything else like that, right?
Yeah, it was a crazy time for these 2 actors, and they just kind of cracked in, and this is before I feel like Michael Bay might have hit this point where his style became very obnoxious, but I feel like this is the beginning of like what his style
Was this his first movie?
Yeah. Was it his first?
It was his very first movie because he was directing music videos up until this point. So this was like this really kind of catapulted all three. Although I would probably hesitate to say that Martin Lawrence probably didn't fare as well as Michael Bay and Will Smith. But I this is his first movie, and this is indicative of the late 90s. And we talked about this when we ever resume our 90s action bracket. This was that turning point. You and I mentioned this in our private chat that Bad Boys was a turning point in 1995 from what came before, which you can go back and check out our first half of the decade of 90s action movies. This was the turning point, everything afterwards, right? This one begat The Rock and begat Con Air and everything else. So yeah.
Oh, the Con Air. Yeah. Con Air. I feel like that should be on.
I'm surprised that's not on your list. You're always talking about Con Air.
I do love Con Air, but there's a lot of movies that I watched more of at the time. I don't know if Sarah's number 2 is Snatch, which it was probably a very close runner-up. I think me and my brother, once we discovered this movie, we watched it.
So once you and your brother discovered Snatch,
the movie,
you were hanging out back to back. Okay.
The movie.
Okay.
The movie, yeah. You like dogs? It's a great movie. I feel like we should watch that next week. But anyways, great choice, Sarah.
Fraser put The Gentleman, which I'm really surprised for a more recent movie. This is his number 2 most rewatched movie.
The Gentleman was great when we watched that.
I agree. It just
would have been willing to fire it up again. Yeah. So Scott shouts out the Blues Brothers.
Whoa,
Belushi.
And Dan Aykroyd.
Okay, yeah.
I wonder how Scott feels about Blues Brothers 2000.
Scott, are you looking forward to Blues Brothers 2000?
No, it already
came out. Oh,
John, we're in the year 2022, man.
Oh, I don't. I thought it was maybe just a name. Maybe it's just a name. Like, didn't Bernie Mac have a movie called Mr. 3000 or something like that? Maybe does that take place in the year 3000? I don't think so.
Just stop.
I know it's a baseball term, you jerk. All right, anyways, Lewis, I don't know if he's shouting up Blood Diamond as his number 2 since he's
that's a heavy number 2 movie.
Yeah, I don't know how many times you can watch this movie, but that is with DiCaprio, I believe. Gangs of New York, or the shout out Gangs of New York, which I think Fury.
That's a great
Mad Max.
No, I think Fury is one with Brad Pitt and directed by David Ayer. He of the original Suicide Squad fame. It's a great like World War II like tank movie. It's actually a hell of a lot of fun.
Oh, okay, yes, Brad Pitt. Yeah, okay, yeah. I was recommended this and I haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah.
I do own it on so Gordon, I don't know, you shouting out Fight Club.
Well, we can't talk about it.
Yeah, we can't. Yeah, we'll talk about that next time, maybe. So before we get to our number ones, Rob, do you have any honorable mentions that we haven't kind of talked about already? Movies that didn't quite make your list, but you remember very fondly, and you definitely have watched it maybe a ton of times.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, listen, I've mentioned this before, like Superman the movie, Interstellar, Lethal Weapon, but I'm going to just a couple of more recent ones. We've talked about this in the past. Jack Reacher. The original movie with Tom Cruise. That's a movie I could throw on. That's one of my
runners up.
Yeah. It's on my list. I could throw that on and watch it at any moment. It's just so damn enjoyable, regardless of whether or not it skews and adheres to the source material, which in comparison to the most recent Amazon TV show, we could say it doesn't. But as a movie for an hour and 45 minutes, it is a fast movie to watch. It's a lot of fun. Also in the same vein, John, The Equalizer with Denzel Washington.
Oh, okay.
I love that movie, man.
You do, eh?
I really do. I could watch that. It's another revenge epic, movie where, I guess you can kind of say along the same lines as the John Wick / Reacher movie. And then I mean, we've already talked about John Wick 1 and 2 and 3. There's just so many. I just had the last one on the top of my head, and I'm going to go back to my list in case I Equalizer. I don't remember what the last one was. Oh, I have Goldfinger on here from James Bond.
Okay.
But yeah, That's
Yeah, I will shout out that has been mentioned in the chat and on my social medias, which was Bloodsport, the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. We did talk about it. It was a movie engineered for you to rewatch when you were a kid because of all the fighting styles. It was basically a fighting game in a movie before there was fighting games. So we're gonna get to these comments, folks. I'm gonna try and star them all. But my actual honorable mention that I watched a lot when I was in my younger days, Rob. I don't know if you're gonna be able to guess what this movie is if I put this picture on the screen. So I'll give you a couple seconds for it, and I'll pop it up here.
Oh, Sidekicks.
Oh, there you go. Yes, the namesake of this show, coincidentally, is a movie that I watched a ton of when I was a kid.
That's hilarious.
The premise is this kid. I don't remember what the hell his name is.
Oh,
because I haven't watched it in like years.
Jonathan Brandis.
Jonathan Brandis. He was a big deal. Oh,
yeah. He had passed away. Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah.
What the hell happened?
We got some bot stuff. Don't click any links that they post. But basically, the premise is this kid is just trying to get through. I guess I don't know what point in his life, but he creates an imaginary friend, and that friend is Chuck Norris, who basically teaches him martial arts to kind of get over his fears. So I don't know if it stands up. Like I said, I haven't watched in years, but I'm pretty sure if my brother's still on here, he probably remembers this movie very clearly as well. There's silly scenes where he's just doing crazy kung fu or karate stuff. Scott, don't do it. And there's other scenes where he's being like Chuck Norris action star, and this kid is helping him out. So according to Jonathan Brandis, I remembered he was a somebody.
He was in Ladybugs with Rodney Dangerfield. He played the soccer star that Rodney Dangerfield dressed up as a girl to win. He was also in, at the time Deep Space Nine came out. There's also that Deep Sea. I think it was called DSV or whatever. He was in that. Yeah, Jonathan Brandis was in a lot of movies. Unfortunately, succumbed to his demons at a really young age. So. Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna go there was a bunch of honorable mentions in here. Where'd they go? I don't know if you see Sarah's one. I thought Sarah had one.
You had it up.
Tons of stuff. Yeah, I don't know where it went. Lewis says Book of Eli with Denzel Washington. Yeah. I don't know if Boondock Saints is an honorable mention, Gordon. But that's one that I got to get to. I actually haven't seen Boondock Saints. Pretty Woman. Yes. Okay. Pretty Woman. I feel like I've watched a handful of times. Because my wife really digs that movie. Julia Roberts, Richard Gere. Richard Gere, yeah, had fantastic soundtrack. Your friend shouts out Johnny Dangerously. Does he mean Johnny Danger? Maybe.
No, Johnny Dangerously. No,
that's Johnny English.
Yeah, I don't. I'm gonna Google this really quickly. I will say, though, that Anise is really fond of watching those Baby Blue movies on City TV. So that may be what he is referring to. Johnny Dangerously, 1984 with Michael Keaton. I don't remember this. Oh, I do. Hang on. Let me see if I can get a...
It's like I'm not going to see that. Describe
it doesn't. I don't know. It's an old school, like it's like a 1940s crime movie. Actually, I will say in speaking on Anis's behalf, he was a big fan of Airborne from 1992. It was a movie on about rollerblading. So.
Oh. Yeah. All right.
All right. Should we get to our number one picks?
Yeah. All right. So we're going to jump to number ones, folks. So definitely pop your number ones up there. Put a hashtag number one, so we can find it. Sorry. Sometimes it takes us a second to dig through the comments, but we definitely want to hear what you think. So Michelle does shout out Pretty Woman. I wonder if Michelle's number one is also Howard the Duck. I don't know, but I feel like the amount of chops she's busted over this movie, it feels like it should be. But let's go to Rob's number one most rewatched movie according to his specialized criteria. Let's go. If you can guess it from the picture, go now. I feel like this one's an easy one. No,
should be.
All right. What movie is this?
I'm waiting to see if anybody's got
Well,
it.
we're on a
Anybody's
10-second
got it?
delay. They're gonna guess it by the time you start talking about it. So go ahead.
We're on 10-second delay. UHF. What the hell? No, this is Say Anything. Directed by Cameron Crowe. Starring a very young John Cusack and Ione Skye. You know, this movie, listen, how many times have we seen that image replicated in various movies? Shit, we just saw it in Deadpool 2, I think. Was it? Or maybe it was Deadpool 1, where he was holding up the iPhone.
To get Colossus.
The X-Mansion.
I think it's from the first one, yeah.
Yeah. Say Anything is just, it's fundamental. You know, for me, it was fundamental in growing up. I loved this movie. The notion that he is falling in love with this girl who is like the goody two shoes valedictorian. Her dad has her on a path. You're on a path to greatness, and all of a sudden this punk kid comes in, and it's really funny, John, because he goes and visits the dad, the family for a dinner, and they're giving him the third degree, and he's like, "Well, what do you want to do with your life?" Because they're about to graduate high school, and he's like, "Oh, I'm thinking about getting into this mixed martial arts, kickboxing." Don the Dragon Wilson, very very popular.
I love Don the Dragon Wilson,
right? Like he's talking about, and he actually, he's got a bag set up later out at his apartment, and he's like kicking, and it's so funny, and she breaks up with him and she gives him a pen, and he's driving around aimlessly. He's in there, and, he goes to a phone booth because, there's no cell phones in the 80s. And he calls his sister and she's like, "Are you okay?" And he says, "I gave her my heart and she gave me a pen." And it's like, and for me, like this movie it gets me in the feels every time. Maybe I'm a hopeless romantic. I don't know. But I love Say Anything. I love Cameron Crowe. Big fan of his work.
A lot of your movies are what would you call them? Coming of age stories.
Probably.
Time, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of Cameron Crowe's work. Almost Famous. How do you go wrong? So Say Anything. That's my pick.
So when you cut out the superhero movies, you end up with a whole bunch of coming of age John Hughes films.
Buddy, In Your Eyes by Peter Gabriel, one of the best songs out of the 80s. So
yeah, shout out to Michelle, said she saw Say Anything in a drive-in.
Also shout out to Michelle because she did mention her number one. Oh, The Godfather.
Look at Rob.
Yeah, just got in
3 of them.
The 50th anniversary of The Godfather remastered. So yeah, Michelle. Yeah. Michelle and I are now soulmates. We'll put aside the Howard the Duck issue.
We still got to get you that steel book. I think she wants you to own a copy of the steel book in your collection, right next to Godfather, because H and G go very close together. I don't know if you alphabetize your DVDs or not, but that's how you do it now.
And I'm very proud of you, John, for getting that.
All right, let's go to my number one. So, folks, if you kids grew up with me in the 80s, there is one particular movie that you have seen. You may not realize it right now. You have seen this movie a million times, and it is unanimously all our number ones. And I'm actually surprised my brother might not have seen this coming. But I'm going to pop the image on the screen, and you guys are going to be able to guess it within 1 second.
Go Bucks.
And Rob, why throw away your life so foolishly?
I'll get you, Prime.
Never. Anyway, this is Transformers the movie. I wish I saw it in theaters, but I did not. I saw it when they chopped it up into 6-part or whatever.
Oh, atrocious.
And whenever the Rogers Video opened, which is located in used to be located in the same plaza as Heroes World is located right now, they only had one copy of this movie, and it was probably never in stock because I always had it because we rented it every single opportunity we had.
Wasn't that a Jumbo Video? Was it Jumbo Video?
No, it might have changed to Jumbo Video at one point, but when I was growing up, it was a Rogers Video. It took up that entire unit. There was the Cora's, McDonald's side.
Okay, yeah.
And they had one copy of this movie, and I believe it was even on the new release shelf. But we watched this a gajillion times, so I don't know what more I can say about Transformers. Another one of those movies where you could quote lines from it all day long, and even the music. You probably know all the lyrics to all the songs. Rob, did you not watch Transformers the movie a lot when you were a young lad?
I have it on DVD.
The 20th anniversary or whatever.
I think so. I actually lent it to one of my neighbors many years ago because he was a young kid. He had nothing. He wanted nothing to do with it because it wasn't fresh, cool animation. But yeah, I watched that movie 1,000 times. I think I went to the theater to see that. I mean, Don Johnson as Hot Rod, or which then became Rodimus Prime. I mean, dude, I was crushed. I was in the theater. I remember sitting there in the theater. I can actually remember the smell of the theater. And then because when Optimus dies, you're like, what the hell just happened? And all the kids were like, what, Mom? What? Like that, right? Like, you know,
I can't imagine that, because when we first got to watch it, it was, they would chop it up into 6 parts and you would watch it in the regular TV episode lineup. So I can't imagine what it would have been like to think that Optimus Prime had actually died. I did go to a toy convention once, and the guy who I think he wrote the screenplay or whatever, he has a book that's called I Killed Optimus Prime. And it's just the story of how he wrote, I guess, that script and scarred everybody's childhood. So let's...
The nice thing about that movie, though, John, is that when you watch it, like the animation, like the extra time they put into things, like they really improved on what they did on the television series with it, right? Like they could have just done it the same way, but you could tell it was just so much more fine. Like it was crisp. Also, the last acting performance of Orson Welles, the great Orson Welles, played Unicron.
If you guys have the I forget, I think this is the new 20th anniversary Blu-ray. They have a whole documentary on it that details how they got this guy, and I think he had no clue what was going, like what this movie was about. He was just reading these lines for them. So it's a great time. So highly recommend doing that, and watching the movie still holds up very well. G.I. Joe movie, not quite as much, but this Transformers movie is still very watchable.
Although that G.I. Joe movie, when Cobra Commander actually turns into a snake, was quite terrifying.
yeah, you're like, oh my god, what's with all these eyes and stuff like that?
And all of a sudden, Serpentor is the new leader, and you're like, what is happening?
What? Scott shouts out #1 Remo Williams. I'm pretty sure he's joking here.
The legend continues.
Oh, here we go. Real #1 Raiders of the Lost Ark. Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford. 100% don't blame you.
Oh yeah.
For some reason, I just didn't grow up with this movie, so it's not on my radar at all.
I grew up with it. I watched it a lot. I loved the Indiana Jones trilogy. Well, actually Scott would remember because we're of that vintage. We always call them the Raiders trilogy. I think we never called them, because it was never called Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark. It was called Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yeah. But we, it was a trilogy because the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was way many years later. But yeah, man, the promotion for The Last Crusade, seeing it everywhere, the excitement for it building up. Yeah, man, Raiders is great. It's been a while since I've seen it. Now Scott has a son. I'd be interested to find out if he's watched it with his son and whether or not his son enjoys it. My son has this really weird thing where he's like, if it's made like before 2005, he has zero interest in seeing things. So he's an idiot.
No, fair enough. He might not appreciate it yet. He might have to get a couple of more years under his belt before he can go back and watch these kind of vintage movies, as we now call them. It makes me a little bit sad. But Fraser shouts out Shawshank Redemption, which is hilarious because it is also for sure Sarah's #1. We've heard it many times from her during the broadcast. Shawshank, would it get on your list anywhere, Rob? I still have yet to see this movie.
Whoa! This is like, what? That shocks the shit out of me.
Does it really?
It does. I've crapped everywhere. I really, really enjoy this movie. That Andy Dufresne. This is a great movie. Is it on my most rewatched list? No, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I watched it a lot when it first came out. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. My brother shouts out Moneyball is his #1. So Chris O, thank you. At some
That's
point,
not surprising for Chris, though.
Yeah,
like
me and my brother diverged, and he became a super sports nerd.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly when that year is. I think if I think on it a little bit, I think I can probably figure it out. But there was a point where we diverged and became.
I know exactly when it was.
Yeah,
it was The Rookie. He watched that movie about that kid whose arm got broken and became a super pitcher for the Cubs. Jr.? And you were like, no, it was the guy from American Pie. And you were like, that's stupid. I'm not watching that shit. And Chris all of a sudden became a sports junkie, and you stayed with the comics.
Yeah, all right. So let's go. Yeah, so everybody knows all these lines from Transformers. You got the touch, you got the power. If you don't know the entire lyrics for some of these Stan Bush songs, you're crazy. So yeah, Spike swearing, shouts out that the movie theater got parents. Their sneaky way of getting parents to take their kids to go see Transformers was to throw in Spike going, "Oh shit, what are we gonna do? Oh shit, what are we gonna do?"
Yeah.
So Chris shouts out, yeah, they killed a lot of the original G1 Transformers because they had to make room for the new
Set of
characters.
toys. Yeah.
So if you watch the Toys That Made Us and the Transformers portion of it, it gets pretty funny that they were trying to do this and it just did not work out for them. Louis, you're still on honorable mentions. This is why I wanted you to number all your shit. Lucky number 10. Get out of town. Inside Man, I can hear you on Inside Man because it's Denzel Washington. I would actually choose Unstoppable over Inside Man. But yeah, so Scott shuts out. Raiders is his first VHS tape. Yeah, I was gonna go dig through my VHS tapes. I'm sure they're all rotted away. Temple of Doom traumatized Michelle when she was getting Temple of Doom. Was that when the guy's face melts? I feel like that was a very
No, that was Raiders.
scene. No,
No, Temple of Doom is when they rip the guy's his heart out and he's watching.
Oh God!
And he's watching it beat and so a friend of mine who's Indian, and we went and saw Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and he told me growing up that Temple of Doom was really horrible for what he called brown kids because he said everybody after that movie opened up kept asking him, "Do you guys really eat monkey brains?" And he's like, "No, man." Yeah, he said it was horrible. Like for that time at schools, it was just the worst. Everybody always asking, "Oh, do you have snakes and stuff like that?" And that's what you eat. He's like,
you know what? I vaguely remember kids getting teased about that. So maybe that wasn't a good thing. You know what movie traumatized me? There's a movie, I think it's called Romancing the Stone, where a crocodile bites the guy's arm off.
Yes, it is.
And I think I've mentioned it before. And he pulls it back, and there's just a bone.
Yeah.
That still sticks in my mind. That's when you're watching something and your kids wander by and see it, and they shouldn't be watching this stuff. So that's why I'm so careful when I watch my stuff.
That's why I'm so careful around crocodiles and alligators.
Yeah, and crocodiles too. Yeah, damn it.
The one that always got me is the never-ending story when Atreyu is walking his horse through the quicksand in the storm, and the horse starts to succumb and sink into the quicksand. As a kid, I loved never-ending story, but I would have to fast forward that part of the movie because it always made me super sad, and I was gonna cry. I couldn't handle the horse.
I remember watching it in a daycare. You would go to a camp and they would be like, you would do arts and crafts, and the last day was movie day. And you would bring your sleeping bags, and they would roll out the TV on the cart with the VHS tape, and they played that movie. And the damn horse dies. I'm pretty sure every kid in there was like, "What the f just happened?" I don't know what the parents were thinking.
Are you talking at camp, like a overnight camp?
No, it was like a daycare, but they would call it camp, but you would bring your sleeping bag.
Yeah, I went to
it was a sleepover, but you would leave. It was probably like 4:00 in the afternoon. So they probably showed us this movie like right after lunch at 1:00. And us kids are going, "Oh my God, this horse just died."
I was at an overnight camp. I loved overnight camps. I was there for a week. But I remember we all packed into the area, and they put a movie on for us, and it was Firestarter. Have you ever seen Firestarter, the Stephen King movie with Drew Barrymore, who creates and burns people with her mind? Let me tell you something. It's terrifying when you're stuck in the middle of the woods. It's horrible. Oh my God. Atrocious.
Yes. All right. Thanks, Sarah. Sarah picked us up some coffees, Rob. So I'm going to send her some stickers. And next we meet, Rob, I don't know. Hopefully we'll meet again sometime this year. We're going to have some coffees. All right. Maybe a pizza party.
Thanks,
but yeah, let's go through some of the other movies that people mentioned at the top of the show or at the bottom of the show. Let me see. What do we miss, Rob? I'm going to fire through a couple quick ones. We're going to ask for your 2 cents on them. Shawshank already mentioned Snatch. Princess Bride on your rewatch list.
Oh, I showed my daughter that a couple of years ago. It's a Rob Reiner movie, a lot of fun, right?
Yeah.
Inconceivable, with Sean
It was great with the mind. Yeah, when they switched the poison.
Yeah.
You would think that
You
blah blah
think
blah blah
that I
blah blah
think
blah blah.
that you think.
What a great performance.
Yeah. Loved it.
Yeah, Back to the Future trilogies.
Oh, yeah.
Fraser mentioned. I mean, Lewis shouts it out. The Martian. I don't know if The Martian would be on my rewatchable multiple times list.
I have watched it again. It is fun. I personally prefer the book, but that's just me. But yeah, it is a lot of fun. Science is shit out of this.
Sorry, folks. I'm going to try to fly through this because we're keeping you too long tonight. So
Yep.
Top Gun for sure. John Wick trilogy. Yeah, I think we already know that. Like if I had to redo this list with modern movies, I'm pretty sure all these movies would be wiped out. I don't think the only thing that would stay would maybe be Bad Boys. Wayne's World. I do remember watching Wayne's World a ton when I was on the younger side.
Yeah, I have it.
I don't know if it was because of Tia Carrere.
Oh, I'm sure it was
because of the humor. Gordon shouts out Spaceballs as well. The Crow. We've already watched that 2 or 3 times within the span of these podcasts. I think. Snatch again. Evil Dead's. Big Lebowski. Big Lebowski. I feel like is one that is on many people's lists. Fraser shouts out Rumble in the Bronx. When was the last time you watched Rumble in the Bronx, Fraser? But I do recall watching this lots when it came over. This was Jackie Chan's first.
And wondered why there's no mountains when I went to visit New York and say this is bullshit.
Hard Boiled. I believe, Rob, you mentioned Hard Boiled and your love for Hard Boiled.
Yeah.
Let me see. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I'm not familiar with it. I recognize the name. Meet Joe Black. I do recall Meet Joe Black, which was Brad Pitt speaking in a Jamaican accent at one point.
No, Meet Joe Black is no, man. You're thinking of True Romance.
No, Brad Pitt. He puts on a Jamaican accent at one point, and it's like everything gonna be Irie and all that kind of. It's a funny scene. Shout out to Brad Pitt. Infernal Affairs. I feel like Infernal Affairs is the original version of The Departed. Yeah. Which I still consider. I don't watch a lot of Asian films anymore. I still consider it one of the best Asian films I've ever seen. Just how tight it is. My brother mentioned Lilo and Stitch. Field of Dreams. Your friend mentioned Field of Dreams.
Yep.
Kevin Costner.
Yep, that's right. If you build it, they will come.
Yeah. All right. Bourne movies. I've seen a couple people mention the Bourne movies. Rob, Jason Bourne. Where does he rank on your list with James Bond, Ethan Hunt, and Jason Bourne?
So I quite enjoy those 3 movies. I don't look at the more recent one because I think it's a piece of shit. The 3 movies. I will say this. They're good. They're great action because of the Jason Bourne movies. When Bond decided to retool the James Bond with Casino Royale, rebooted it, if you will, it was because of what they did with the Bourne movies, because it was just so fast and quick in its action.
They kind of stole a lot of the thunder. Did you ever watch the Treadstone TV show or the Jeremy?
No, I had zero interest. It doesn't involve Bourne. You don't give a shit.
I tried doing the TV show. Didn't work out. The Jeremy Renner, I really liked the first half of it, and then it just
and then the movie just falls apart.
I assume that's not included in anybody's when they say Bourne movies.
I don't think so.
They do not include. I think it's called the Bourne Supremacy or something like that. Gordon shouts out Gangs of New York. I believe I've seen this one as well. I think I've only seen it once.
Daniel Day-Lewis, Leonardo DiCaprio, Martin Scorsese movie. Yeah.
I remember being good. Last Samurai with Tom Cruise. I have seen that a handful of times.
I prefer 47 Ronin with Keanu Reeves.
You get out of town. Last Samurai is definitely a better movie.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. All right. Falling Down and The Game, both starring Michael Douglas.
Yes. Yeah. Falling Down is great. Joel Schumacher movie. And The Game is actually on Amazon Prime. I was actually thinking of rewatching that. So.
All right. And then I don't know if anybody dropped anything new in the comments.
Oh yeah. See, Gord put Infinity War. That is probably one of my easiest movies of modern day movies I can throw on anytime. I love Infinity War.
Yeah, so Gordon's just got a whole list of stuff. I want to know exactly how many times you rewatch these Gordons, or you're just naming off movies that you like. We're talking rewatch. Like the movies on my list are definitely in the double digits. I would say some of them approaching 50. Like Transformers, I'm pretty sure that's definitely in it probably almost gets to the 3 digits. Full Metal Jacket.
Interesting as a big rewatch on Full Metal Jacket. Stanley Kubrick. It is something I want to go back. I know it's streaming somewhere. I want to go back because I did watch it a lot when I was younger. That and Platoon.
Yeah. Oh, Platoon. All right.
I think we got to call it a night.
Yeah, I think we got to go. We're keeping everybody too late. It was a lot of fun, folks. Do we want to wait for what we have next week, Rob, or do you want to drop something now? Or
Want
Are
to
we
drop
watching?
something?
Yeah, you
Well,
want to drop something right now? Are we
listen.
watching Shawshank?
Well, you had said you wanted to watch There Will Be Blood. Gord said he wants to watch There Will Be Blood. You want to do that?
I will definitely give it a shot. I'll definitely. It's been on my list. You always mention it. We might have some issues finding it on streaming, but it's in Rob's top 5 most rewatchable movies.
Yeah.
I question the number of rewatches, but it made your list. So, so we're gonna aim for that, unless we have a change of heart. But get your copy on whatever streaming service you normally use.
Yeah.
So thanks for sticking with us, everybody. This was a lot of fun. We'll have to come up with some mutation of this again next time, and we will try and fly through it a little faster so we can get to your picks and things like that. So There Will Be Blood. Daniel Day-Lewis, who is known as a method actor, correct?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He stays in character. So yeah, it looks like a lot of people haven't seen it. All right. So yeah. So we'll hook that up. Thank you everybody for tuning in and staying up late with us.
Yeah. Thanks everybody. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Whatever.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to say? You want me to slap you?
No, I'm not. Hey now. Let's not make light of certain situations, but I'm not taking that tumble again because it took me a week to get up. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, jump back to, I forgot what episode. I feel like it was 2 episodes ago.
2 weeks ago. Yeah.
2 weeks ago, watch the last 30 seconds of that video and you'll have a fun little laugh.
Yeah, at your expense.
At our shenanigans. I think Rob. I think it's your fault. Anyways, thank you, everybody. We'll catch you on the next one.
Appreciate it. Have a good night. See you guys.